What's good, everybody? It's your boy SWCJ, also known as SpadesWolf. Today, I'm gonna be doing my first IRL video. We reacting to Vault, the dark story behind Lil Durk and King Von's case. Now, I'm gonna tell you. Well, I'm not gonna tell you exactly, but I've been speaking about this to a lot of different people, so I want to know the actual story behind it.
At around 5:45 a.m. on February 5th, 2019, Lil Durk, King Von, and Bezu would get into a verbal altercation with a man in the parking lot of the Varsity, a popular restaurant located in Midtown Atlanta. The man, whose name was Alexander Weatherspoon, was a 23-year-old Vice Lord member and was known on the east side of Chicago for cracking cards and scamming.
Scammer life!
Witnesses say that the altercation would soon turn violent after 13 shots were fired, hitting
Dang,
Alexander
13?
Weatherspoon once in his femoral artery.
Ooh.
Weatherspoon would then stumble across the road before collapsing in front of the One Cigar Lounge, traumatizing late-night customers.
Dang, bro.
Witnesses would then scramble to call 911, while a SUV with 300 plastered on the side would be seen leaving the scene simultaneously.
No way these niggas is riding in a track car, not only with a personalized nameplate, probably a one-to-one decal wrap, but he has his gang affiliation on the side of it. That's smart.
Emergency
That's so smart.
services and law enforcement would quickly arrive at the chaotic scene and immediately transport Alexander Weatherspoon to the Atlanta Medical Center for emergency surgery, while detectives would begin to investigate the crime scene and speak to any possible witnesses. The on-scene investigation would reveal that 13 shell casings were found at the scene, coming from both a pistol and a rifle. A 9mm handgun was also found nearby. This case would then go cold for about 3 months, but on May 4th, 2019, King Von would be tackled and arrested by the Chicago police on charges related to the Varsity shooting back in February 2019. 9 days later, Bezu would also be arrested by the Chicago police with the charge being fugitive from justice, out-of-state warrant. Then on May 29th, 2019, the Atlanta police would issue an arrest warrant for the final suspect in the case.
I saw the
Lil
title,
Durk.
but he probably gonna talk about it.
The warrant would be charging Lil Durk with
no.
case.
So
Lil Durk would also be arrested by the Chicago police with the charge being fugitive from justice.
How many months? 3 months of a cold
warrant.
case.
Then on May 20th,
This man goes to his attorney and plan to turn himself in and release a song called "Turn Myself In." Hey, I'm not saying anything, but
29th,
sound like some
2019,
snitching behavior.
the Atlanta police would issue an arrest warrant for the final suspect in the case.
Nah, I'm not
Lil
even gonna
Durk.
bring that up.
The warrant would be charging Lil Durk with 5 felonies, a major one being an attempt to murder charge.
commit murder?
The
This
charge
nigga
of
didn't
that
even do it.
sentence usually carries 10 to 20 years in prison. The same day the arrest warrant was announced, Lil Durk would release a song titled "Turn Myself In,"
Okay, so he
which
did speak on
included
it. I was
several
about to
dark
say.
lyrics referencing the situation. These lyrics include, "Yeah, yeah, yeah, heard the story, think I'm finished. Free Von, free Zoo, even though they got the same problem. I turned myself in tonight. Head down with these cuffs on, just read my rights." The following day, Lil Durk would meet at his lawyer's office to do an interview with WSB-TV, stating that he had nothing to hide and nothing to run from.
Did you commit the other crimes of which you're accused?
No.
Lil
Yeah, no way, bro. This nigga said, no. That's almost as suspicious as when somebody said that Zuckerberg was an alien, and then he read it out of the chat, and he was like, I'm gonna have to go with no.
Mark, are the allegations true that you are secretly a lizard? I'm gonna have to go with no on that. I am not a lizard, but keep the high quality comments coming in, please. This is surely on track to be a great live Q&A if we continue getting stuff at that level of quality. There's actually a lot of funny stuff in here too.
It's like my
Durk
lawyers
would then
advised
proceed
me
to
to say
surrender
no.
himself to authorities at the Fulton County Jail later that night. King Von, Lil Durk, and Bezu would all remain in custody until further notice. Lil Durk and King Von would finally appear in front of a
This
Fulton
is
County judge
the
where they
first
would go
court
over the
footage that I had
charges
ever
and
seen.
briefly discuss the evidence they had
I saw them
for
sitting there,
arresting Lil
and King
Durk
Von was like
and
looking
King
back at
Von.
Dirk.
An Atlanta Police Department detective by the
Probably
name of
'cause he found
Jeffrey
out he-
Churchill would
Turn
take
himself
the
in.
stand and claim that one of the witnesses he spoke with was a female who was talking with Lil Durk and King Von when the incident took place. She claimed that a fight broke out in the car in front of them and then saw Lil Durk pull out a firearm while shots could be heard. Detective Churchill then told the court that Alexander Weatherspoon also had a firearm with him at the time of the incident, and it is completely possible that
Oh, so no wonder he testified. He came on Lil Durk's behalf.
Weatherspoon
Because
could
no
have
smart
fired the
nigga would
first
come
shot.
to a
Another
a
interesting
street
piece of evidence brought
or
up in
rapper
court is the
interview,
fact that there was allegedly
not
surveillance
interview,
footage that would show an
courtroom
arm of an individual
or
rumored
court
to be
case,
Lil Durk's
and then say that he
hanging
shot
out
first,
the window
unless
of a gray
you know
red
something
camo
or you know
Trackhawk
somebody.
with 300 plastered on the side while firing a firearm.
You see Mr. Banks' arm out the window firing several shots at the victim, towards the victim.
Prosecutors would describe the case as gang-related and even had a Chicago police captain fly all the way down to Atlanta to confirm to the Atlanta courts that Lil Durk and King Von are documented members of the Black Disciples. At the end of the court hearing,
Wait, huh?
it was determined that Lil Durk and King Von were to continue to remain in the Fulton County.
So you telling me they were known gang members, gang affiliation, and gang activity is illegal, but they weren't apprehended because of that. They were apprehended because of a suspected murder case.
Jail.
Something going
6
on in
days
the legal
later, at
system.
another court hearing, prosecutors would submit a request to Fulton County Judge Kevin Farmer to not
Ugh.
give Lil Durk bond and have him
Nah, I
remain
was
in
about to say,
custody until
he
further
looked like he's not
notice.
gonna give them any
Judge
bond,
Kevin Farmer
no
would
chance of
reject the
parole.
prosecutor's request, claiming that even though the charges against Lil Durk are serious, he will grant Lil Durk a $250,000 bond due to the fact
Never mind. Lil Durk probably called that judge and he probably paid him off.
that he turned himself in and doesn't seem to be dodging any type of arrest as long as he wears an ankle.
Nigga, didn't the charges just say he was in there for attempted murder, assault, being a known gang member, like all these charges, and then they say he turned himself in, so he's good.
Monitor, follows curfew, and stays away from firearms. Later that night, Lil Durk would excitedly go live on Instagram as
If I was a judge and I just gave him $250,000 worth of bond and he get out the cell looking like this happy, bro. Oh wait, is Vaughn free? Because if Vaughn's not free, this is real suspicious.
he is released from jail. King Von would also be released the next day on a $300,000
Okay,
bond.
never mind.
While out on bond, Lil Durk and King Von were no longer able to speak to each other, and both seemed to move a different type of way after their release. Lil Durk would seem to slow down and focus more on his career. King Von, on the other hand, would continue to live a fast and dangerous lifestyle despite already beating a murder charge back in 2017. This arrest arguably brought the most mainstream attention King Von has ever received at the time, furthermore skyrocketing his music career and street reputation. King Von was still going back to O-Block.
Not gonna lie, I watched that Back to O-Block vlog. It was pretty dope. It was fire.
Hanging out with some of the most
the
dangerous
dynamic of whenever rappers or artists are actually around whoever they grew up with or whoever they hang with, and they show people like their real self. Because you can act like somebody in a vlog or an interview and then be like a completely different person when you're around your friends. But when you on camera and around your peoples, I think that was his sister. I don't know.
individuals on the streets of Chicago.
I
Only
kind of feel
this
for
time,
him because you see that bag he got in his
hand
head.
out
He about to
large
break it down with
amounts
the
of cash
homies.
and custom
But at the same
expensive
time,
jewelry.
I'm not snitching, but I know this isn't. He didn't work a job. He didn't work no 9 to 5 to get this.
This would give off the impression that King Von is funding and rewarding members of the O-Block street gang for their work and loyalty.
Never mind. He said it for
King
me.
Von would also start up Get Back Gang Entertainment in an attempt to give top O-Block members a rap career in order to increase the gang's notoriety both on a street and mainstream level while monetizing it in the process. A very dark turning point in the story would occur on August
FBG
4th, 2020, when King Von's most notorious rival, FBG Duck, was murdered in broad daylight while out shopping at the Gold Coast Luxury Shopping District in Chicago, Illinois. King Von's music made multiple references to FBG Duck and the 63rd
Yeah, I heard
and
took it to
St.
the
Lawrence gang, making both FBG
exactly what he
Duck
was talking
and
about,
his
too.
block the subject of many disrespectful jokes and memes online. The most popular instance of this is in King Von's Took Her to the O, a song that
Can't lie though, y'all gotta listen to that Exposing Me by FBG Duck and Ruga.
describes Vaughn getting confronted by a man rumored to be FBG Duck, and the situation ends up turning violent. Rumors on what exactly happened to FBG Duck would begin spreading online, with the most popular narrative being that King Von and O-Block were responsible for the murder of FBG Duck. Fans all across the world were really starting to believe and see with their own eyes that King Von and Little Durk were possibly the most dangerous men in hip-hop. Then just
Wait,
9
in
days...
hip-hop? Nah, don't give him that name, bro. I'm not gonna lie, I'm not scared of nobody, but at the same time, I'm definitely not scared of somebody that's gonna turn themselves into the police when they got attempted assault or attempted murder charges on them. That just mean that they're not who they portray to be. Because if you're really running from the police and you really about that life, you're not about to stop doing that just because you being looked at by the police. I'm not gonna name any names, but there's a whole lot of rappers and non-rappers, for that regard, that are famous for running away from the police, not talking about their case, and not like taking a plea or taking a bond. They rather just wait their time out because they know people on the outside and people on the inside is looking for them. So if they get out with a bond, hey,
Days later, after the
that just
murder of
paint a
FBG
different
Duck,
picture.
Lil Durk would arguably have the most important moment in his career take place when he would be featured on Drake's hit song, Laugh Now, Cry Later. The Drake
bumping that
collaboration
song.
would bring a
I don't
whole
really
new
like Drake,
massive
but,
audience to Lil Durk and his music, sending eager fans down rabbit holes only to discover that Lil Durk and his associates have extremely dark pasts involving lots of violence and even death. Lil Durk and King Von would take all the attention they were getting from both the Drake collaboration and the FBG Duck situation to double down on their savage street reputations, regardless of the fact that the two were both very well aware that they were on bond and being heavily monitored by authorities.
Thing I don't get, if you really doing the things you say in your rap, if you really are a murderer, if you really are a hitman, if you really are, a kingpin, whatever, why would you put it in a rap? Like, whether the case is over, whether the case got dismissed, whether you got time and served time, why would you put it in a song? Because the way I heard it and the way I seen and interpreted most of King Von's songs, he wasn't just talking about one incident. It was always like 3 or 4 disses or 3 or 4 stories all in one song. And if you didn't catch it, it just flew over your head and you were like, okay, these bars are kind of hard. But if you caught it, you were like, oh, he's talking about that? He's talking about him? Oh, he's talking about all 3 of it? Oh, nah, bro. I don't get the self-snitching.
You better have your gun for me. Better have your gun for Booney. Better have your gun for C. You don't believe me, you gonna see. You gonna end up by that tree. But I got my gun for Boone, they call him Chief. But we should have killed him soon, cause he a thief.
Know that we did it.
King Von would even record himself getting off a plane only to be greeted by law enforcement officers with badges.
The officers trying to search me on the plane. They talk about, let me search your bag out. Let me get y'all ID one more time before I leave.
Take a picture of my badge.
Y'all want to search me for what? Remember, it's space.
It wasn't too long before the ship began to sink.
Don't tell me. Please don't tell me he killed one of these investigators, bro. That would just ruin my whole day.
On November 6th, 2020, King Von would get into an altercation with Quando Rondo, a rapper.
Hey, this is the last time I'm pausing, but I'm gonna just tell y'all. Never mind. Go ahead.
Close ties to NBA Youngboy, another rapper in which Von had problems with behind the scenes. This split-second altercation outside of the Monaco Hookah Lounge in Atlanta would abruptly end with Quando Rondo's right-hand man, Lil Tim, fatally shooting King Von. Lil Durk would then release his highly anticipated album.
So I knew it. That's what I wanted to say, bro. So let me show y'all something, bro. So this was released on August. This was released in December. So in August, he made a lot of references towards, it sounded like what he was talking about Vine. I'm not going to go into the verses, but listen to that song, and then listen to Backdoor, and then listen to Back in Blood, which was released a year after. And then tell me what y'all think. Tell me that ain't a storyline.
A little over a month
in
later, which
chronological
featured
order.
some quite telling lyrics. On the song, Should Have Ducked, a song whose title is already a diss in itself. Durk says, I told my PO through the gate that I get high as She asked me how high do I get? I told her high as duck. Durk also says, they asked me where I'm gonna be in 10 years. I said, the feds. These lyrics came off to most fans as Lil Durk somewhat accepting the fact that his one-of-a-kind hip-hop run will ultimately come to an end with him receiving a hefty prison sentence. 7 months after King Von's sudden death, Lil Durk's brother D-Thang would also be shot and killed outside of a nightclub called Club O in Harvey, Illinois. While losing another person so close to you is already a lot to deal with in itself, it must be even more difficult to deal with when a lot of the speculation of why D-Thang was killed in the first place was because rival gang members have a tough time getting to Lil Durk due to his celebrity status, so his enemies just got the next closest thing. A few weeks later, trouble would continue to follow Lil Durk after his Atlanta mansion was broken into by alleged enemies of Lil Durk.
Dang, bro.
Shots were reportedly fired in the home by Durk's girlfriend, India, but it was rumored that this would just be a cover-up in order to prevent Lil Durk from getting arrested since he was already a felon on bond. The dominoes would proceed to fall, but on a whole nother level this time, because on October 13, 2021, the FBI would raid O Block and arrest 5 members of the street gang for the murder of FBG
It looked like they had a
Duck.
whole
The most
SWAT
notable of
team
the
out
5
there.
arrested was Muwap, King Von's right-hand man. This wouldn't come as a surprise to most drill fans, as there was many pieces of evidence that hinted at O Block being behind the FBG Duck murder. One interesting piece worth mentioning is the fact that King Von gave Muwap his iced-out O Block chain just 11 days after the murder of FBG Duck. King Von would also start shouting out Muwap more than ever on his story and had him in the studio with him at just about all times.
This Muwap, he crazy. He got all type of button on his left.
Muwap was also one of the most fearless out of the group when King Von was
Nah,
shot
that was
and even
literally
punched
federal as
Quando
hell, bro.
Rondo in the head in order to help Von.
Even as a joke.
The federal
bro.
indictment revealed that they were all being watched prior to the FBG Duck incident, indicating that if King Von were still alive today, he most likely would have been sitting in the same jail as Muwap at this exact moment. So with all of this chaos going on, it left most fans wondering whatever happened to Lil Durk, King Von, and Bezu's case in Atlanta. Well, back in 2021, the victim of the case, Alexander Weatherspoon, would be arrested on federal charges after allegedly stealing
fake
multiple identities and using them to fraudulently obtain money
They
in
were
order to
scamming.
purchase various luxurious items. The victim plays a big role in convicting the
I didn't need
defendants
that.
in a criminal case, so having him in federal custody as well as the chaos that came with 2020 on a global scale most likely
What the
slowed
hell?
down any
Mona Lisa
proceedings
with
of
a
the
face
case.
mask? I have never seen that
Then
before.
on October 24th, 2022, it would officially be announced that after over 3 years since the original incident at the Varsity happened, the Fulton County District Attorney's Office would drop all of the charges against Lil Durk and Bezu. The Fulton County District Attorney was not shy in stating that King Von would have been indicted for the incident if he were still alive today, which could potentially indicate that Durk's legal team put all the blame of the shooting on Von since
I wanted to address that, but dang, bro. Hey, what T Grizzly said, bro. You can't snitch on a dead person.
he had passed away. Fans online would be ecstatic at the news, claiming this is great for Lil Durk and that it must be a huge weight lifted off his shoulders. But just because the state dropped the charges doesn't mean that he's fully in the clear. Since the charges were dismissed and the defendants were not found guilty, it wouldn't be out of the ordinary for the state to intentionally
Theodore
drop the
Roosevelt
case
in
if
the
they
picture in
knew
the
it could
back?
be a part of a much,
Was he a lawyer?
much bigger case. You know, maybe like a RICO. Only time will tell, but many credible individuals with close ties to these situations seem to be hinting at the fact that Lil Durk's problems may have only just begun.
Let me also give a very big warning. I fear
Yo,
that
academics, bro.
2023 is the year that Lil Durk may be involved in some legal shit. I believe the feds have set the seeds to try to connect a lot of crime. And I know Lil Durk these days says, yo, These lyrics are just props. He even says in the song, the cops are smarter. They know who he's beefing with. They know where the bodies are being dropped. Lil Durk, I feel like if they hit Durk with some shit, it's gonna be a dub, bro.
No, when I heard aha and he was like, "This is all props. This is not real," I was like, "Oh yeah, it's he definitely about to drop some disses in here, bro."
hit him with just everything, bro.
Dang, bro. Well, I appreciate y'all for watching. If you liked it, press the like button, press the subscribe button, share with a friend, share with a family member, put it on a playlist, and hit up the new channel. Holla at me.